Welcome to Immigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable, a space where you're not going to be judged, a space where you can be authentic. And my hope and desire is to inspire and motivate everyone that click onto this podcast. Welcome to another great episode of Immigrate. I'm so excited. So I just want to welcome Steph to our podcast. Welcome, my dear, and introduce yourself to my audience.
Again, right. Hey, so glad to be back. Thank you for having me take another spin around the podcast. My name is Steph Jones, also known as Lila Calandra on social media. I am originally from Boston, Massachusetts, but I immigrated to South Africa about 2 years ago now. So it's been a rocking time in my professional world. I am a marriage and family therapist and a mindfulness life coach. So just navigating all these things on top of family, on top of all the stuff happening in the world. So I'm glad to have this conversation and hopefully, help some people who may be in it or those who are about to enter into it.
Wonderful. So I love that you migrate to another country. So this conversation, you may have experience or have heard of something. So I don't mind you giving your experience and your therapist experience behind it. So the topic is financial burdens for immigrants, right?
Yeah.
This season, we're talking about how to create healthy boundaries. And I felt like financial boundaries is something that is very hard. I had to learn it. It's something that I had to do. So I was like, let's have that conversation and see how we can navigate these questions. And hopefully we can help immigrants to understand how and why they should create a healthy financial boundaries. I don't know why I keep saying burden, but yeah.
Well, it
So
can be a
let's
burden.
begin.
Sorry, it can be a burden.
Yeah.
If you don't have good financial boundaries, it can be a burden. So you might seem like a slip up, but it's not. It's right on point. It will be a burden if we don't have the proper boundaries in place for sure.
You're right, because I've been through that burden, and then I was like, no, we have to set the boundaries. So you're right. So why do you think many immigrants struggle with setting financial boundaries, especially when family and culture expectations are involved?
Yeah.
We're going right in.
Just jumping right in. Yeah, I honestly think that a lot of immigrants have survivor's remorse, that you made it out of your situation, your community, your family circle, cycle. You immigrated to another country where the currency might be stronger, and you feel like I have to give to my family, or I have to be the one that carries everyone on my back because I made it out. You could feel bad. And I know I'm touching into different topics that we'll talk about as the episode goes on, but you can feel that guilt. You can feel that burden because it's like, I'm someone who got a better opportunity. And so it is now my responsibility to make sure that I am helping my family in the best way that I can. That's what I've seen a lot of. Now, for me, I'll just land the plane with this. I went to a different country where my home country's currency is stronger than the currency here. So I didn't really experience that per se. Like the US dollar is stronger than the South African rand right now. So it wasn't like, I needed to make my money and then send stuff home. Like I didn't experience that just because of where I moved to.
So the currency in South Africa is higher than the US, or the other way around?
It's the rand. The dollar is higher than the rand. So dollars stretch further in South Africa.
Right. Okay. Because a dollar is a dollar in the US.
Correct. The US dollar. Correct.
Right. Right. Okay. It's the same thing. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's the same thing. Okay. So how can an immigrant support family member without compromising their own financial stability and future goals?
I think tough conversations have to happen. I was looking at these questions. I'm like, ooh, that's a very tough and maybe awkward conversation to happen, but it needs to happen, right? I think your family has to buy into your reason for immigrating in the first place, whether it's for your job, a better opportunity for school. And if it is that, then that is your first priority. And your family needs to buy into that being your first priority. While it is beautiful and what a blessing it is to be able to send money home to family and know that your money is the money that you are getting or obtaining in your new country is stretching farther back home. But your number one priority, and it's not selfish, is just keeping your priorities in place, right? Boundaries get out of place when our priorities are not in place. Your number one priority is to do
Right.
what you set out to do. Your reason for moving, like I said, the job, if it was school, if it's just a better opportunity, get into a new environment, that is the main priority. And so if that ever shifts out of being the main priority, then something is going to always go off. So again, I just said the family has to have the buy-in, understanding that you went there for a reason to better yourself, which does better your family too, right? If they can give you some space to do that, then you'll talk about or have those conversations where it's like, hey, we can connect and we can talk about how it looks like for me to help you financially, but I have to keep my priorities straight. It can be again, it can be a very uncomfortable conversation. It's easier said than done, but it's something that needs to be done. Even if not all the family buys in, at least a couple family members, key family members, have to buy in to the main reason that you're going to your new country.
And are we talking about the family that you're currently living with or the family back home?
Yeah, the family back home, because I believe the family back home almost demands, it's almost just an expectation that you're sending money back home, that you're going to make money, you're going to have new experiences. And I'm saying, especially if the country that you're going to, the currency is higher than your home currency, I believe there's an expectation, internal and external expectation, that you are going to be sending money back home to help support your family. And like I'm saying, that's beautiful. And that's a beautiful concept. I'm all about the family, but keeping that main thing the main thing. Why did you go? If it's for school, you need money to pay for school. If it's for the new job, you need to make sure that you can sustain your life in your new country. Those are the main priorities. Then we can talk about helping the family. And sometimes we get that a little mixed up and find ourselves in very stressful and anxious situations.
Wonderfully said. And I will touch on the fact that you said something that's very important. The word expectation is very important, right? Especially when we have, as you said, the currency is stronger. Because
Yes.
obviously I'm in a country where the money, if I send back home, it's stretched more.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because in Canada, a dollar is a dollar. But when you go back home, it stretches more. But at the end of the day, expectations.
Right.
What are some of the healthy ways to say no when loved ones ask for financial help that you cannot afford to give? That's a tough one.
It is.
That's a tough one.
Because the nicer you are, the more they're not going to hear you. And it's you can't be like, I'm sorry, you can't do it. No, sometimes you do have to be firm, but you could just, say, I don't have it right now. We can talk about it at a later time, or even list a couple things you need to do with your own money. Like, I have this to do. There's some things coming up that I need to do. I'm not able to do it at this time. I feel like a lot of us feel like we have to apologize. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's not really an apology. You know what I mean? I'm just not able to do it at this time, but we can revisit it at another time. I'm not saying no forever. I'm saying no right now.
So what if the no comes from, because I'm touching something.
Please.
What if the no comes from part of you where you feel like you have to? Okay, I am the only one here, and I am the winner of the family. Everybody's back home. I know what I left. I feel guilty. I'm living in a better country. I'm living a nicer home. And oh my God, my family have to walk to get water. My family has to be outside. Like, all the things in your head, you feel guilty. How do you say no, even when you cannot afford it sometimes? Because I find that immigrants sometimes cannot afford it, but they will make themselves, they can't. And it's not like I don't like to use the word poor, but you're just in a different financial part right now because you're growing, right? So how can you remove that guilt from your mind and say, okay, I can't really afford it? And how can you say you can't afford it in your mind?
Yeah, you're bringing up a good point, because the no has to be said to yourself first, not even to the people asking. The no has to be internal, like, no, I can't do this. No, don't agree to this. You're saying to yourself, I'm not able to. I mean, what's the point of you going to another country and then you ended up in the same position that maybe your family is back in your home country? Like, the goal is to go to another country, have new opportunities. Yes, always, not even in the back of your mind, always thinking, yes, how can I help my family? But I can't help you to the point where I'm going to end up in the same position as you in a different country. This doesn't make any sense, right? Now we have to be logical. I moved to a different country, but I'm sending and spending all my money to send it back home. I'm going to be in the same predicament as my family back home, but now I'm in a new country. Now I don't have the family support. So the no has to come in here first. I'm saying no to myself first. No, it's a no, even though I want to. And then when you can say no to yourself and say no, and you can analyze, you have your internal conversations. Why can't I do this? I'm looking at my budget. I'm looking at my bills. So 2 and 2 are not adding up. The math is not mathing. I'm not able to do this right now. The more you can say no to you, then you can start saying really no to other people. And again, it's an open-ended no, because sometimes people feel like, oh, I have to be so nice. And that's fine, right? I'm not saying to be rude and hang up the phone on your family or friends or people asking from back home, but you have to put things into perspective. That if I say no now, maybe I can say yes later. If I say no now, but if I keep saying yes, 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 later it's really going to be no. So let me say no now so that I can stack up and gather my funds so that a yes can come. So that's why I mentioned the open-ended no. It's not a final no. It's a no right now. Let me get my business together, and then I can say yes.
So it's a distinguish between generosity and unhealthy financial
Absolutely.
dependence. So that moves us into the next question, because you're saying now you want to be generous, but you need to learn healthy financial dependence.
Yes, for sure. Because everyone will end up in the same situation. Sis, if you're in a different country, the Canadian dollar stretches farther than it does back home. If you keep giving out that money, if you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, one, you're not even able to save anything, right, in the new country. But then you're not even able to get yourself in a good financial position to help family. There's a big disconnect here. Do you know what I mean? It's a huge disconnect. And it starts with us removing the expectations from ourselves. There's some expectations that are ingrained in us.
Where do you think that those expectations came from?
It's passed down. I think across the African diaspora, no matter if you're in Sudan, Jamaica, Trinidad, the States, the African diaspora, you could be in Mexico. If a part of the African diaspora, we are expected to help, and we are expected to give of ourselves. We are expected to give everything of ourselves, sometimes to our own demise, sometimes to our own detriment, right? Religion, we're taught to be selfless, and we're taught to do things just like Jesus did. That sometimes that can be used as a weapon, though. That's what I wanted to touch on. That is weaponized against us. Be a good Christian. Be a good Christian person and give and get. We don't want to weaponize that, because living in poverty and not being good stewards of our finances is not very Christian either. We need to be financially responsible in that way. And so that's how to combat that it's innate in us, the expectation that I just know I'm going to be having to help my family, like no matter what. It's not a problem, but I have got to help myself first. It talks about self-care. You know, I'm always trying to bring that up. Good financial practices is self-care.
Come on now. You're preaching. It is, because at the end of the day, we're trickling back between these two questions, and I think it goes back to question 5 where it talks about guilt, and we touch about a little bit. It takes, because self-care is about taking care of yourself for 100%. So if you stewardship, and I love that you take on the talent, because people don't understand that what Christ was teaching in that was a whole aspect of self-care, respecting yourself, boundaries, all of it. At the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, no one cares.
No one.
No, I have a story. I was told of a story. She used to send stuff back home, and I'll just leave it, just say back home. That lady will send stuff back home all the time. When she got old, when she got really old, she ended up living in a nursery home. Nobody from back home,
of course,
reached out to her.
No.
She didn't have anything. But when she was much younger, she kept sending barrels and money. And when I heard that story, it hit me hard, because I'm like, look at that. As you said, she wasn't taking care of herself.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't being, I heard you said too, being good steward meant that you have to steward what God gave you.
It's
and
true.
A lot of times we feel that we have to burden ourselves with the burden of our family problem, which we can, but as the question says, generosity and unhealthy financial dependency. Should we be, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if we don't have any about, we're going to eventually not taking care of ourselves, and we can't be a good steward.
We can't. And I have gotten a great revelation on self-care, right? Self-care is taking care of ourselves so we can take care of those around us. It's all one big circle. You don't just take care of yourself just to take care of yourself. It's like, all right, great. I'm eating well. I'm making sure I have a good skin, all this. I'm staying fit and healthy and all this and doing all this for what? Not for myself, for my children, for my spouse, for my family, for my coworkers, for my clients. I'm self-caring for myself so I can help everyone around me. I always say the best form of love to those around me is how I take care of myself. Just like the barrel lady.
That's so powerful.
She didn't take care of herself. She sent back. She sowed all these seeds into bad ground. This is the best ground we can sow our seeds into. And then what springs up from this soil is what we use to help everyone else. And it also goes to the point too. It's like we're always given from our portion and not our overflow. When we give financially and we help other people, it's from our overflow, not from our portion. That's how we get burnt out and resenting our family back home. You're always asking. People will always ask. That's not the problem. We have to be able to say no up here first and then no to other people second.
And it's so true because we have to come to the knowledge of accepting that, listen, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
And it's true. It's the mind. Let's just switch to couple. Because we know that a bunch of different people listen to my podcast and we don't just want to touch. So how do you think couples should navigate disagreements?
Like relationship-wise?
Sending money to... Oh, yeah. Hey. Sending money to family back home. How do you think couples should have these disagreements?
So that that is a huge stumbling block in a lot of relationships, right? Where people are just sending money back home. But if we're using biblical principles, right? When two people come together, you're one. You're together.
That's right.
You make your decisions, and it's hard to meld two people together. So you're coming together. You're bringing your own family history. You're bringing all this stuff. You make the decisions together. It is you and that other person against the world. You're not tied so closely to your family anymore. I'm not saying you forget about them, but the closest person to you is your spouse. That's the closest person to you. All decisions need to happen between you two. Marriage is a business. I see marriage as a business. I would never in my business make a financial decision without talking to my business partner.
Okay.
If I do, I have done a breach of contract.
Okay.
I don't care the amount. It could be 10, 50. It doesn't matter. Any decision that happens with the business financially, if there is money leaving this business, we need to discuss it with all the partners. That's you and your spouse. For those listening, that's you and your spouse. There doesn't need to be any arguments, disagreements. You guys need to come to a full agreement on what is being sent. I want to say this too from the other side, right? If you are married to someone who is constantly sending financial help and assistance back home, to expect them to cut off cold turkey is unreasonable.
So we're going on the other side.
Yeah, just start to dial it down in increments. Maybe this time, and have the conversation with your family. I'm married. I'm with this person. We're talking about this.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to that wonderful interview. It was such a delight. If you want to hear more inspiring episodes like these, please to follow us on our Instagram at immigrate. We'll be uploading all the videos, all the short clips of it, and you can find me in my email at heslop.tashagay13@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to another great episode of Immigrate. Welcome to Immigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable,